2023 was the year of artificial intelligence, and Silicon Valley could not get enough of it. Many companies were able to ride the AI hype wave, but Nvidia easily became the poster child. Nvidia's stock is up more than 237% this year. The driving force behind its surge, the company's relentless demand for its AI chips. So, Sasi, let's recap the year that was for Nvidia and what investors can expect in the year ahead. And let's break this down perhaps into the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to start with the good because people have called me the Grinch going into this holiday season. And so I want to be a little bit of a holiday cheermeister, if you will, here as we give this outlook. The good here is that this data center strength and the business there has seen growth unlike any segments that we have seen for a business in recent history here. And what's that growth looking like? I mean, we're talking about year over year. You think about the last quarter, some 280% growth year over year from the same time last year in that data center business. That's what's going to catapult so much of the capital expenditures being thrust back in towards other elements of the business where they're investing heavily. I think back to a JP Morgan December 15th semiconductor note that they put out saying that artificial intelligence and deep learning are going to garner a lot of investor attention, but as a sub-segment of data center, and they do anticipate AI being one of the fastest growing silicon opportunities in all of semiconductors.
Yeah, and you're really getting the sense there. It is a massive, or it has been a massive market share grab, Brad, for Nvidia throughout this year, just gobbling up market share from its competitors in large part because it remains really, by some estimates, a couple years ahead of its rivals in chip development. But if you're going to be the good guy, I guess I'm going to have to be the bad guy. One bad thing, and it kind of plays along what Brad was just saying, the bad thing for Nvidia is that the market investors are absolutely obsessed with Nvidia.
It's a good thing, but it's a bad thing.
They are obsessed with it. They are only expecting greatness from Nvidia, as they probably should be. This is a company that has consistently this year squashed analyst estimates to the extent I have never seen before in my close to 20 years doing this. They're not only just beating estimates or earnings estimates and sales estimates by a couple pennies, they're blowing everybody away. So they've reset expectations much higher. The problem with that is if they don't continue to grow at these rates in 2024, are we talking about when Nvidia reports in the first half of next year, do investors sell that news because they're not getting triple-digit earnings growth from Nvidia and maybe not getting 12% quarter-over-quarter sales growth? That is, of course, wildly unclear, but again, a lot of expectations priced in Nvidia here in a big way.
Yeah, when you see margins and particularly when that margin growth starts to deteriorate, or at least the growth declines or decelerates, that's something that investors start to fade at one point or another. But we got to talk about the ugly as well, because that takes us a little bit more international. You want me to do that one? Fine. Well, the ugly is the international scene right now. They've got a quandary that they found themselves in the middle of right now, where they've got to figure out how to kind of walk the tightrope of satisfying a lot of the restrictions that have come forward here in this tit for tat that has really continued to move forward and just found its way over into the artificial intelligence chip landscape, and Nvidia trying to walk that tightrope and that balance being very carefully. But they have to make sure that they're not a political punching bag here going into next year within this broader space too.
That is right on, Brad. And really the risk, the China risk is really something that a lot of analysts are in fact calling out. You could see a deceleration in growth rates in the first and second quarter in large part because these chips are not in fact going to China. Bottom line is this though, and really for me, Brad, it's a really great quote by the Evercore ISI team. They're saying this, quote, "Nvidia is on a clear path to becoming the most valuable company in the market." And wow, that really left an impression on me, Brad. Not the most valuable company in the tech space, not the most valuable company in a specific sector, the entire stock market, meaning Nvidia would supplant the likes of an Apple and Microsoft. And to me, that's just absolutely mind-blowing.
I mean, well, if you think about their ramp just to get to $1 trillion valuation, they were able to do that faster than a lot of those other players as well. And so no doubt that that's going to be in focus as we move throughout 2024.